All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today's informational session on the Learning Through Nature Teacher Training Workshop that MEarth will be offering in late July. We're really excited for this opportunity to work with local K through 5 educators in Monterey County in exploring how NGSS aligned activities in outdoor or garden-based learning spaces can be really fun and can be great opportunities to integrate different curriculum, different subjects. I am a firm believer that you can teach absolutely anything in a garden or in an outdoor space, and we're gonna have a lot of fun exploring how to do that together as a group. So thank you for sharing your information in the chat. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the agenda for the session today, the info session. We're gonna do some brief introductions. And then I'm gonna administer a brief Zoom poll, and then we'll get into the program overview, discuss the program schedule, the topics, some of the activities, and then it's gonna be an opportunity for us to hear from you. So we would really love to know how we can support you. So whether you're attending this in person live today or you're watching this later, you're watching the recording, we would really love to get responses from you, whether live now or via an email at info@mearthcarmel.org with your feedback. And then we'll have some time for some questions and answers at the end. So my name is Lee Eck. I'm the program director here at MEarth. And I've been here since January of 2020. And I'm actually going to be leaving my position because I'm moving. So full disclosure, I just have a couple more days here as a member of the MEarth team, which I'm really sad about. And Ben, I will let him introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Eichhorn. I'm the executive director here at MEarth, and we are indeed sad to be seeing Lee go, but we wish her the best, and we certainly appreciate all the hard work that she's put into preparing this teacher training session this summer. This is a really exciting opportunity for us to get to collaborate with teachers from throughout Monterey County in the elementary grades. So we look forward to sharing more details about what we have in store and also learning more from you about how we can make this as relevant as possible for you and your students.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to launch a brief poll, and it would be wonderful if everybody could participate in this. So we'll give a couple of minutes to provide your information, and for those of you who are watching this as a recording, the questions that we're asking are, does your school have a garden? And the answer options are yes, no, not yet, but there are plans for one, or I don't know. The next question is, if yes, if your school does have a garden, how frequently do you use it as a tool to support classroom instruction? So there are a number of different options, different types of frequency: every day, a couple times a week, a few times per month, a few times per year, or never. We have one, but I never use it, or not applicable, we just don't have a garden. The third question is on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident do you feel teaching outdoors? 1 being not confident, 5 being extremely confident. So we're asking folks to rate their confidence level in teaching outdoors. And then the final question is, on a scale from 1 to 5, how familiar with basic gardening skills are you? 1 being not familiar, 5 being extremely familiar, and we're asking folks to rate their familiarity with basic gardening skills. This will help us gauge some of the on-site activities during this program. I'll leave that poll open for another minute or so. And move on to the next slide, and I'll hand it over to Ben.
Thank you. So I'm going to give a little bit more background about the organization and hopefully whet people's appetites for spending some time with us later this summer to do some deeper diving into integrating garden education into our core subject areas in the elementary years. So MEarth is an educational organization dedicated to educating and inspiring through environmental stewardship. We are located here in the gates of Carmel Valley, adjacent to Carmel Middle School. We're actually on Carmel Middle School property. And originally, this project really sprouted out of the science program at Carmel Middle. 20 plus years ago, the property was actually an abandoned Christmas tree lot. It was overgrown, and a group of teachers decided to work with their students to restore native plantings, native habitat plants, in order to welcome the bird populations back to the area. So years later, this is a thriving native habitat and edible garden and orchard with a LEED certified green building, indoor outdoor multi-use classroom. And on an annual year, we welcome thousands and thousands of visitors through field trips and community events through the site. So our programs run a gamut in terms of age ranges and subject areas. Again, our core focus is environmental stewardship. We talk a lot about what environmental stewardship means. And we think of environmental stewardship as care of not only the planet around us, the natural world, but also care of our own bodies and the well-being of our human community. So we think about our work as holistic and interdisciplinary. And so that's really the core of what we'll be focusing on with our teachers this summer, is connecting across curricular areas. So connecting the next generation science standards through not only sciences, but into writing and perhaps cultural studies, into the arts as well. So we have a few photos up here in this slide demonstrating the types of work that we do. We do native plant restoration, which is what you see in the kind of second photo from the right. Student planting native plants, restoring habitats, and creating space for native species of animals and birds and amphibians, reptiles, insects to thrive. We also, throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, have been doing both in-person programs as well as virtual video-based programs and real-time synchronous programming with using material kits. So we'll work with our teachers this summer to actually involve them in the types of activities that students have been doing through our programs over the last year and farther into the past when we were able to do larger in-person programs. We've been doing small cohort programming before schools really did open up in Monterey County. We were doing some small group, physically distant, fully masked, of course, programming. So we look forward to sharing some of the lessons that we've learned during the pandemic with teachers, because we still are very much in it, especially as teachers return to school in the fall again and think about how to safely conduct classes and perhaps utilize the outdoor classroom. Even if your school does not have a really well-developed garden education area per se, we look forward to working with you to figure out how to utilize outdoor spaces to really activate your curriculum.
So I thought we could take a moment to share some of the goals of this teacher training program. We have built and decided to offer this program so that we could offer experiences with NGSS aligned learning from the student's perspective. That was one piece of feedback that we had heard over this planning process, was that a lot of local teachers were interested in experiencing a training through the lens of their student. So we've constructed both days of sessions to do exactly that. The first being in a virtual setting, and then the second day being on site and in person together here on our habitat. We're going to be having some fun playing with the curriculum integration. So like I said before, we believe that you can teach anything in an outdoor space and in a garden, not only science, but also math, social studies, language arts, the arts, pretty much anything. I think you can find a way of tying it into the things that happen in outdoor spaces and in gardens. So we're going to be working together in a collaborative way to get creative and have some fun thinking about how we can integrate different parts of curriculum into using some of the activities that we're going to be doing together. We also feel that it is really important to build a cohort through this program. So while we believe that we have a lot to offer during those 2 days of programming, we're always interested in having lasting impact and creating spaces that can last beyond those 2 days. So our third goal is to develop lasting collaborative support with your fellow cohort members so that you can continue to lean on each other and be sounding boards for each other about what's worked and what challenges you're facing, whether or not you work in the same school or even if you work in the same grade. We hope that there can be some lasting relationships built during this process. And lastly, we hope that you take away some fun activity ideas and maybe put your own spin on it based on your own learning objectives for your students. So everything that we're going to be doing is going to be NGSS aligned, which is, as you all know, the direction that the state is going in. And it's really a wonderful approach to learning. So we're going to be doing some activities together, both virtually and in person, that we hope that you all borrow. And like I said, you can find ways to make it your own. All right, so the very first day of the program, you really don't have to do a whole lot. It's just going to be when we coordinate to drop off your material kits. Those material kits are going to be used during the virtual program. So as Ben had mentioned before, this is something that we have found some success with. It was a learning process over the course of the pandemic, but we all really didn't have much of a choice beyond connecting with our students through the screen. As an organization, we've always embraced that in-person experiential learning. So switching to virtual presented some interesting challenges when we decided that we really needed to stick to our guns when it came to hands-on learning and experiential learning, not only relying on the screen. So our challenge was, how do we reach kids and get them use the screen to get them away from the screen? And so everybody that participates in this program will receive a material kit that will have everything that they need for the activity during the virtual session on Wednesday, July 27th. So the drop-off day will be July 26th, the day before that. So somebody on our team will reach out to everybody who's registered for the program and communicate how that's going to work. July 27th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. will be the virtual session. So we'll all connect via Zoom. And there is a really fun agenda that we've got planned for the day. There'll be some group discussion. We'll do some think, pair, share. And then we'll do a hands-on activity together through the screen, and you'll get to see what it was like and maybe some of you did things along these lines during the pandemic with your students. But you'll get to see what it's like to be a student on the other side of the screen, being given activities and guided through, being given materials and being guided through an activity virtually so that we can all share an experience. And then the program will culminate in a longer day together. I like to think of it as we're welcoming you all to MEarth for a day of camp. So we'll sit in the stump circle, we'll have group discussions, we're gonna go on a property tour, perhaps a scavenger hunt. It's gonna be really fun. So that's gonna take place here at the Hilton Bialek Habitat in Carmel. And that will run from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be a 30-minute lunch break, just like camp. And we have all sorts of really fun stuff planned for you to experience a day at camp as if you were a student here. And then we'll do some really nice group work around, how can we use these activities and these outdoor spaces or similar outdoor spaces to teach your own curriculum, reach your own learning objectives with your students. So here is a question for everybody who is watching this right now. If you're attending this live, please go ahead and type your answer into the chat. If you're watching the recording of this, take a moment to reflect on this question. Why should elementary schools have gardens? Why should elementary schools have gardens? And perhaps you can speak from experience, having worked in the school garden, or perhaps a local community garden that your school has access to. Or perhaps it's a theory-based answer, like it would be nice if we had a garden because we could do this and that and this. Ben says to learn about relationships in nature. It's pretty much what everything in life boils down to, right? Is relationships. Nancy says elementary schools should have gardens so students can experience learning in different settings. Yes, absolutely. I say fresh air, wildlife sightings. I would also argue that having a school garden provides students the opportunity to care for something and nurture something, which is going to be really wonderful and develop in social emotional development. Catherine said, I had so much fun in my elementary school garden and learned a ton about plants and pollinators and made me want to build my own garden at home. So it's contagious in a really good way. Well, great, thank you very much. Keep thinking about that. What are the benefits of having an elementary school garden? And the second and last question to ponder, provide your input, maybe think about it, shoot us an email, let us know what you think. What is one thing that you would like to learn about the garden? That could be knowledge-based, it could be skill-based, it could be attitude-based. But what's one thing that you would like to learn about the garden? Ben says, how to control pests like aphids and gophers. Yeah, I'm right there with you. If I only knew how to control aphids and gophers. If you could come out to the MEarth garden and learn about one thing, I mean, you're going to learn about a lot more than one thing, but if you picked like one thing, the number one thing to learn about the garden, what would it be? Nancy says, how to have a healthy, robust garden in an urban environment. That's wonderful. That's a really good answer, something I would be interested to learn more about too. Ben says, how to garden throughout the school year in Monterey County, not just the summer. Yeah, I know it's easy to just focus in on those summer months that are more typical growing season, but we're so fortunate here in Monterey County that we can grow year round, and there are certain strategies to being successful at that. So that's a really important thing to learn, so thank you. Any other suggestions? You can continue to put them in the chat, and I'm going to move on to the next slide and pass it on to Ben.
Thank you, Lee. So before we have our questions and discussion, I just wanted to acknowledge our funder who is helping us put this program on. So the donor advised fund of the Community Foundation for Monterey County called the Gene P. Fitton Fund, which is dedicated to teacher professional development in Monterey County, is graciously funding this work this year. And so we're very, very grateful to the Gene P. Fitton Fund of the Community Foundation. And just again, want to make clear that this program is available for free to the first number of teachers who do register. So we don't have limitless space, but we do, once we reach our cap, we will indicate that we have reached that cap. We are still, we have a handful of folks registered, and there are a handful of places still available. So that's today, June 9th, that we're saying that. So please go ahead and follow this link, meearthcarmel.org/teacher-trainings/. You can also go onto our website and look under the programs tab and you'll find that link. And Lee has just put it in the chat. So please do sign up for both the sessions. Again, the dates, I'm going to jump back in my back end of the slides, the 27th and 28th of July. Am I correct, Lee? So the 27th will be when we are doing the virtual segment, and then that's 10 to 11:30 a.m. And then the 28th will be 10:30 to 2 p.m. on site here in Carmel at the Hilton Bialik Habitat behind Carmel Middle School. So we encourage you to sign up, to mention this to your colleagues. It's a really fun thing to get involved with this summer, and we hope we'll bring back some really valuable inspiration to you and your teaching team back at your site. Again, this is only open to Monterey County teachers. So we hope that you all cherish this opportunity and take it to heart, because we need you to make it as rich an experience as possible. And we're really excited because it's the first time that we're actually offering this program. Are there any questions that the audience has, either from our team or guests who are popping in for the info session? Feel free to pop questions in the chat or to unmute and ask your question. Great question. What should I bring? We will be in touch closer to the date once people are enrolled, and we'll provide a list of things to bring, just again off the top of our heads. Bring a water bottle, bring sunscreen, bring a hat, that kind of thing. Bring layers. We're right on the edge of the fog, so it can be really warm or really cold, and sometimes all of the above in just a short period of time. I'm hopeful that by then we'll actually be able to make some food together, or our staff will be able to make lunch. So we'll have more information regarding food, and people have dietary restrictions. So please look out for a reminder email probably about a week ahead of the actual date in person on the 28th of July. Other questions? So again, this is open to K through 5 teachers. And so we can anticipate that there will be folks from various grade levels involved. And so we'll probably do some grade level work where it's more like upper grades or more lower grades, and then some more mixed grade level work as well. And we hope that the facilitated discussion and activities that we offer will provide some context and foundation for you all to actually be trying out some ways of integrating nature and outdoor classroom into lessons that you're already doing. So this is not about giving you more work to do. This is not about creating something from scratch. This is about enhancing what you're already doing by adding some cross-curricular components and using nature as our teacher and a way of seeing connections to the natural world throughout our various academic and grade level areas of focus. Any other questions from our team or visitors? Certainly. Can we share specific needs that we have? Absolutely. And we'd certainly welcome people to share specific needs that they have ahead of the session. Again, Lee mentioned the info@mearthcarmel.org email address. That's a great place to direct questions to. Also, if people were unable to participate in the poll today, we encourage you to think back to those prompts that Lee posed to us earlier on in the session. But we also, certainly welcome any specific needs or questions you all have ahead of time. And during the session, I should say, as they arise. Well, thank you all for joining us. We're again really excited about trying out our very first Learning Through Nature teacher training workshop this summer. And we certainly hope that you will register and let your colleagues and friends know that you're coming. and let your site administrator know as well, so that we can get as much as possible out of this summer session together. Again, our contact information is here on this final slide. Email contact info@mearthcarmel.org. And we do have active Facebook and Instagram pages. If you'd like to follow us there, that's where we tend to update things in most real time. We also have an e-newsletter that you can sign up for and receive fairly irregular but meaningful updates from us, normally on something like a monthly basis. And here is our office phone and mailing address if needed. And if you are going to attend, physical address is going to be important to you as well. There are directions on our website. But again, we're located behind Carmel Middle School here at the mouth of Carmel Valley. So again, thank you for joining us today. We very much look forward to spending some time with you this summer. In the meantime, please go ahead and register again at mearthcarmel.org/teacher-trainings. And we will make sure to get you signed up and get all the information needed so that you're prepared to join us later this summer. Anything else from our team or our participants?
I think that just about covers it. But yeah, if there are any follow-up questions, please reach out to us at info@mearthcarmel.org. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. And thank you, Lee, for putting this together.
Sure.
Take care, everyone. See you soon.